Andy Johnson. We are looking at the steps of action research, defining our terms as systematic observation of one's own classroom, teaching environment, or teaching practice, the purpose of which is to understand and improve the quality of instruction and or enhance learning. First of all, action research is a recursive process. It is not linear. Yes, I'm giving you steps, but we do not always proceed in a linear fashion. Sometimes steps are repeated or done out of order. So keep that in mind. So step one, even though this could be a different step, is to ask a question, identify a problem, or select a research topic. Decide what to study. This should be within your classroom or teaching environment or school. What is of interest to you? What do you want to study? What problem should you solve? Number two, set the problem or research topic in a theoretical context. This is a review of the literature, professional books, journals, or other professional resources to see what others have found, to build a solid theoretical context, and to give you some ideas for what data to collect and how to collect it. Now, this sets your study in a theoretical context, and it lends credibility to your findings as well. And you're able to link research directly to your classroom practice this way. Now, there are two ways to do it. You can do a literature review before you begin collecting data. And again, this helps you formulate the question, provides idea for data collection. You can also review literature as data are being reported or as conclusions are being drawn. Either way, most people do the literature review before beginning to collect data. Step three, design. Make a plan. This is what makes it systematic for collecting data. This is sometimes known as methodology. What data are going to be collected? How often, and when? These are elements described before you begin the action research project, and then begin to collect and analyze data. It is recommended that at least two different types of data sources be used. And I'll describe what these are in another video. But as you begin to collect and analyze data and reanalyze that data as they are collected, here's where you begin to notice and look for themes, categories, or patterns to emerge. As patterns emerge, sometimes this influences your finding. You know what sort of things to look for. So this always changes, emerges, evolves. You allow action research studies to evolve as necessary. So number five, if necessary, allow the question or problem to change. Action research is a dynamic, ever-changing process. It's not a controlled experiment. It's common to change teaching strategies, sources of data collection, or even the focus of the study as data are being collected. Now, this is acceptable as long as you describe the reasons for changing in your action research report. You take us along. You are a good narrative. For example, if you started a study and you found that the strategy you are using does not work, it's an utter failure, yes, you have a professional responsibility to discontinue using it or to change it somehow. Number six, analyze and organize data. As I referred to, sometimes data are analyzed and organized as they are collected. When you analyze data, you want to tell us how many things you see. This is a form of inductive analysis. How many total things were recorded, the categories or kinds of things, and the numbers within each category. That's called inductive analysis. Number seven, make conclusions and recommendations. And I'm going to remind you once again, action research is a recursive process. Even though I've given you these 9 steps, oftentimes they go out of order and you have to go back and repeat steps again. But number 7, conclusions and recommendations. Here you interpret the data, you tell us what they mean, and you make recommendations based on the data, what conclusions can be made and what recommendations can be drawn based on the data. Here, the research question is answered or the problem is addressed, and you make your recommendations. Number 8 is the action. In action research, you make a plan of action based on the conclusions and recommendations. What is your plan of action? How will you do it? And number 9, report your findings. The facts are presented either in writing or some form of professional presentation. You produce some sort of product or performance. This could be a written report, a scholarly paper, or some type of in-person or online presentation. Those are the action research steps. They are recursive.